Good morning, everyone. Monday morning. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. I don't know about you guys, but it's pretty chilly today, so I got the garage closed. I'm all bundled up, trying to get all warmed up before the workout, get nice and warm. So today what we have for you guys is the typical supersets with the primary movements, so those 7 primary movements. But I want to start doing a Q&A for y'all. So this is a live Q&A, so excuse me, if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot them in the chat, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Ideally in between sets of the supersets. I got a frog in my throat this morning. Excuse me. Alright, I think we're good. Okay. I might have to clear my throat a bunch of times. Sorry, guys. There's just some in my throat. Yeah, so live Q&A. If you guys have any questions, shoot them in the chat, and I'll get to them in between the rest periods or in between sets. Before we get rolling, though, I want to just start out with some common questions, or just at least just do one for you guys. So a common fitness question that I get from people is, do I need to work out every single day? The question... It's kind of vague. What is a workout? I guess would be a good indicator. Or what specifically workout are you talking about? Are you talking about like resistance training? Or are you talking about just like getting up, moving around? My simplest answer to this would be every single day you want to be active. Okay. There's a lot of things that can be workouts or considered workouts, but you only need resistance training. Anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week, whatever you need to do to get into your volume. Well, there's a question later about how much volume you should get. But yeah, every single day you need to be active, okay? And this is not like, if you're moving around at work, if you're up on your feet a lot at work, yes, that definitely does count as activity, and that doesn't take away from activity by any means, but you want to be doing something mindful outside of work for activity. That just means going for like a 10 to 20 minute walk after work, something to like decompress. That just means doing a circuit, of 10 to 20 minutes, something like that. That would definitely be mindful activity. So that's how I answer that question. Every single day you should be active, and every single day it should be mindful activity, meaning it's not just work-based. So there you go. There's an answer for that. And let me go ahead and pull up the streams, because that would be good. Otherwise, I would have no idea what questions you guys are asking, if you guys are asking questions. And then once I get the stream pulled up, we'll get some music rolling, and we'll get straight into the workout. We're going to be starting with swing rotation carry, the typicals. And we're going to do it in a tricep fashion, meaning it's back-to-back, no rest. And then we'll get on to the other 4 primary movements. So let me get the streams up here. Alright, cool. Looks like we got everything up and running. Feel free to ask questions, guys. Type them in the chat if you have any. And if it's a really, if it's a burning desire question, feel free to shoot me a DM or anything like that. Message me later. Otherwise, you can hold it for the stream we're going to do later today, which is going to be the gaming/guitar stream. So, either way, write down your questions and definitely ask them when you remember. tricep number 1 done. Swing rotation carry. Okay, we're gonna get on to the next fitness Q&A. First question was, do I need to work out every day? My answer to that was, yes, you need to work out every single day, but the term workout is very loosely defined. You just need to be active, 10 to 20 minutes of mindful activity every single day, whether that's walking, doing some circuits, stuff like that. Next question is, how long should I work out for? There's no necessarily guideline on how long you want to work out for. If you go according to like what they say the average amount of exercise that you get per week, it's about 150 minutes of mindful activity and exercise. That being said, I honestly, for a workout, it could be 20 to 60 minutes. It really just depends on what your goal is and how much volume you need, which we'll get to that question later. And then you basically just divide that up by the days of the week that you'd like to work out. So for me in particular, I usually get about a 20 to 40 minute workout 3 days a week, resistance training wise. And then outside of that, when I'm doing active activity, like I said earlier, I'm doing about 10 to 20 minutes of active activity every single day. Like usually walking, stretching, just moving around, getting nice and loose. All right, so next we're gonna get to the next tricep, swing rotation carry. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot them in the chat. I will answer them on the rest periods. For everyone tuning in, what's up? Happy Monday. Thanks for checking out the stream. All right, tricep number 2, all done. We're gonna get back to some more questions and answers. If you guys are tuning in and you have any questions, feel free, shoot them in the chat. I can answer them in real time. Question number 3, how can I increase lean muscle mass? This is probably a very misunderstood topic as far as lean muscle mass goes, because a lot of people believe that you can really control how your body packs on muscle. You can't really. Like, that's like saying when you lose weight, you can decide where you want to lose the weight. So when you want to build lean mass, the best thing in my opinion is to focus on one thing at a time. So don't focus necessarily on the lean, focus on just building mass. And then later on, you can lean out your mass. Your body doesn't like to do multiple things at one time. So for example, you wouldn't build muscle and lose weight at the same time. Although you can, it's not as efficient as if you just chose one goal or the other. So for this question, how can I increase lean muscle mass? My answer would be first focus on building the muscle mass. That's getting in your correct volume of resistance training, 3 to 5 days a week, whatever it is, to get your volume. And we'll go over volume a little bit later in the questions. And then you want to make sure that your calories, you're not at a huge surplus of calories, and you're not at a huge, basically under your BMR. So you want to eat an adequate amount of calories. Usually when we're talking about gaining mass, you want to be at your maintenance and a little bit above it. And that's generally how you build muscle mass most effectively. And then as far as the lean goes, you can worry about leaning out the muscle a little bit later on. But focusing on one goal at a time, that's pretty critical and much better in my opinion. All right, we're gonna go on to the last tricep of swing rotation carry. And if you guys have any questions, shoot them in the chat and I'll get to them. Alright. That's my favorite dance move to know on the dance floor. You gotta be like that, you're like, bah, bah, bah. Alright. Tricep number 3 done. We're gonna move on to squat, deadlift, row, and press. Right after these Q&A. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot them in the chat. I'll answer them in real time. Otherwise, I'll just answer some common questions I'm asked by clients and just family, friends. Let's see here. Next question. How much weight should I use when strength training? So you basically want, the whole goal of using weights and resistance is to elicit enough change in your body or to get enough, I'm mixing up my words, to elicit a muscle change response in your body. And in order to do that, you need to hit a certain level of intensity to elicit that change. And it doesn't have to be like you're destroying your body. It just has to be like enough push to where like you're feeling sore the next day, to where you feel like you got a really good workout. So how I use that to indicate how much weight we should be using for a given exercise and workout is I use something called the RPE of 8. RPE stands for rating of perceived exertion, and I use 8 on the scale of 8 out of 10. So if a 10 out of 10 would be like you're failing and literally you're just like gonna collapse to the ground, you're just like so exhausted, you wanna go for an 8 out of 10. You wanna go for like, say you hit the end of a set for like 10 reps. You wanna feel like you have 3 to 5 reps left before you got to that like exhaustion point, before you got to that failure point. And that's like an RPE of 8. Now, if you use an RPE of 8 for every single exercise, that's just a matter of kind of going through each exercise you're doing and figuring out how much weight do I need for this given exercise to hit this RPE of 8 by the end of my set, or by the end of the amount of reps that I need to hit. And that's generally how I answer that question. There's no set weight you want to be doing for anything. There's no like hard numbers or anything. It's all about how can you elicit a muscle change response in your body. And again, that's going to that RPE of 8, challenging yourself enough to where you feel like you've got a really good set, a really good workout, but you don't have to go to failure. That's the whole misconception. All right. What's up, everyone? Happy Monday. Thanks for checking out the stream. If you guys have any questions, shoot them in the chat and I'll answer them real time. We're going to get to our squat, our row, our deadlift, and then our press right now. We're going to do a superset of that. So it's called like a giant set or a monster set. Basically, you're doing back-to-back exercises, and superset is 2 back-to-back exercises. A giant set, monster set is like when you do more than 2. I forget the exact amount, but I believe a monster set's like 3 or something, and then a giant set's like 4 or more. So we'll be doing technically a giant set, 4 or more exercises, back-to-back, no rest. What's up, y'all? Happy Monday. Thanks for checking out the stream. If you guys have any questions, in the chat, shoot them. I'll get to them in real time. Okay, our first set of our giant set. Let me go ahead and look this up real quick so I'm not messing with your guys' head real quick. There you go. Giant sets are doing 4 or more exercises. So I'm not messing with your guys' head. We just got done with giant set number 1. That's 4 more exercises back to back, no rest. We're gonna do 2 more of those, and then we'll do a cool down, some static stretching. For those of you that didn't know, I'm doing a live Q&A, so if you guys have any questions, type them in the chat, and I will get to them. All right, so on to the next commonly asked question that I get. What training should I be doing to lose weight? Now, this is kind of a really interesting question because in reality, you shouldn't be doing a ton of like high intensity training when you're actually trying to lose weight. Now, the reason why I say that is because when you're doing resistance training, you're telling your body to ramp up the metabolism, you're telling it to build muscle. And if you're trying to lose weight, when you're trying to ramp up your metabolism and build muscle, it's like a conflicting goal. So there's 2 ways I say to go about losing weight. There's one way that's going to be it's going to take more time, and a lot of people aren't going to like it. And there's another way that's kind of like instant results. A lot of people like the instant results. So let's cover that one quick. We'll cover that one first before we get into like the more long-based answer. So when you're going to lose weight, it's all about calories in versus calories out. You need to know how much calories it takes to maintain your weight. Once you figure out how many calories it takes to maintain your weight, you have something called your BMR, which stands for your basal metabolic rate. Your basal metabolic rate is basically the bottom floor amount of calories you need every single day for your body just to operate and function correctly, optimally, right? So it's kind of like a scale. If you imagine your maintenance weight is up here and your BMR is down here, to lose weight, anything below your maintenance, caloric-wise, is gonna make you lose weight. If you wanna be really aggressive and lose weight very quickly, you go down to your BMR, and that's gonna make you lose. Generally, that's about 1 pound or 2 a week, which is a really solid, healthy weight loss goal. And you can think of that scale as like, maintenance, BMR, and anywhere in between that. That's just losing weight. It has nothing to do with working out, has nothing to do with resistance training. It's all about calories in versus calories out. So that's why when you're talking about losing weight, it doesn't really matter what sort of exercise you're doing. Although that being said, walking is really good. But doing a ton of intense training when you're trying to lose weight is kind of like counterintuitive. It's not, the goals are conflicting. When you're doing resistance training and working out intensely, you're going for either improving performance or building muscle. That's mainly what it's about. Now the other long answer, these answers are sometimes long-winded, so bear with me, y'all. The other answer to what sort of training should I be doing to lose weight is if you want a more longer approach to it, but the best approach in my opinion and many other trainers' opinion is you're going to spend about 3 to 6 months, believe it or not, working on building up your metabolism before you even care about losing weight. Now, why do I say this? When you work on building metabolism, and bear with me, it's going to be a little bit of numbers here. So let's say your BMR, right, your basal metabolic rate is about 1,500 calories. That's like the bare minimum you need every single day. And say your maintenance calories is around like say it's like 2,000, say it's like, let's just say 2,000, nice and easy, right? Now, when you're trying to lose weight and your BMR is 1,500 and your maintenance is 2,000, you don't have a lot of calories to take away. The max you could do is like 500 because you want to be at BMR. That's your like bottom, right? If you times 5 times 7, that's 3,500 calories for a week. That's losing about 1 pound a week. Now, some people may be happy with that, but here's why I like to work on boosting your metabolism first, and why a lot of good trainers do this first. or recommend this, I should say. Not everyone does it first, but you spend 3 to 6 months building up your metabolism so your new maintenance calories is not 2,000. Say you get up to like 3,000 calories, and sure, maybe you gain a little bit of weight, but it's okay. As long as you're doing resistance training, that's generally going to be muscle mass that excess weight turns into. So say you get up to 3,000 calories as your new maintenance. Maybe you gained a couple pounds, not a big deal. Now your BMR is still at 1,500, but your calories for the day is at 3,000. Now you have a huge amount of calories to play with as far as weight loss goes. So if you spend 3 to 6 months to building up your metabolism, you can eat more calories and lose a drastic amount of weight very quickly. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this, but if your body's used to 3,000 calories and your BMR, remember the bare minimum amount of calories you want is 1,500, you can literally cut from 3,000 down to 1,500 calories, and then think about how quickly you're going to lose weight, right? So that turns into 1,500 calorie deficit every single day. And if you guys remember from the early example, 3,500 calories equals a pound, roughly, right? So that means every, 2.5 days you're losing a pound. And over a week, you're losing like 2.5 to 3 pounds a week. Whereas the person who's starting on weight loss immediately is only losing like a maximum of about a pound a week. So sure, you waited about 3 to 6 months, you boosted your metabolism. Would you be far behind the person who already just started cutting weight? Yes, in the term of weight loss, but you would be in a much better position because your metabolism is roaring and you don't have to cut as much calories to lose weight as the person who's cutting down to their 1,500. They're probably starving down at that 1,500 where you can go up to like 2,500 and still lose a good amount of weight every single week. So very long-winded answer, but there's 2 ways as far as losing weight goes. You can just do it right away, cutting calories. It's not going to be very fun. And if you're doing it right, it's very grueling. And then you could take the more long approach, which is the healthier approach in my opinion. 3 to 6 months, build your metabolism, then you can cut out calories. It's going to be much easier. You get to eat more, you get to lose more weight. Yeah, and as far as answering this question specifically, what training should I be doing to lose weight? There's not any training you should be doing to lose weight. Losing weight and building strength is conflicting goals. Basically, you'd want to walk. But yeah, I'm a firm believer in building muscle. So I would focus on the second one that I talked about. Building muscle, ramping up your metabolism, and then you can worry about weight loss later, where it's much easier and not as challenging and whatnot. All right, so long-winded answer. Hope you guys are still with me. If you guys are, or if you're just tuning in, feel free to shoot any questions that you have in the chat, and I'll get to them in between the sets. On the rest periods, we're going to get to our next giant set. tricep number 2 is all done. All right, some more Q&A. What's up, everyone? Hope you have an awesome Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot it in the chat. I'll answer it in real time. But I'm going to go answer some questions that clients, friends, family typically ask me. In the meantime, all right, next question. How often should I rest? This really depends on what sort of workout you're doing and what your goal is. But generally speaking, the lower the intensity of the workout or the exercise that you're doing, the less rest you need. And the opposite is true as well. If it's more intense, like if you're like me and you're gasping for air after your set, chances are you need a little bit more rest. Now, my thing that I like to use is I use something called the talk test. That's how I judge my own as well as my clients' rest periods, is that if you're able to say a sentence without gasping for air, for example, I'm kind of gasping for air in between each sort of sentence, chances are you need a little bit more rest. So after a client's done with their set of exercise, I start talking to them. One, it just makes the time pass. It's nice to just have someone to talk to and just get to know them a little bit better. But I'm also testing to see if they're ready to go for their next set. Because if they can have a full conversation with me and talk like sentence after sentence with not like asking for air, that means it's time to go again. So that's my favorite thing. If you don't have anyone to talk to and you feel weird like talking out loud, a general rule of thumb is the less intense the exercise, about 0 to 30 seconds. So 0 to 30 seconds for less intense exercise. And then the more intense you get, you can go all the way up to like powerlifting style exercise, where you're going for like your 1 rep max, or say you're doing anything for like anywhere between 1 to 5 repetitions. Generally, you want to rest about a minimum of about a minute or 2, and you can go up to about 5 minutes or so. Now, very different training styles, and most people don't do a lot of powerlifting. But yeah, if you're doing really intense exercise, longer rest, anywhere from a minute to 5 minutes. Less intense exercise, anywhere from 0 to 30 seconds, 0 to 60 seconds, if you don't want to use the talk test. So that's how long you should rest. All right, we're going to go on to our next giant set. This is going to be our last giant set. Then we're going to go for a cool down. As I said before, if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot them in the chat. I'll get to them in real time. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going with the workout. monster set. Number 3 done. That is it for the workout. So, if you guys don't have a lot of time for your workouts, highly recommend doing superset monster sets. Gets you a solid amount of volume in very quickly. But without further ado, we're gonna go over some more Q&A, some more questions. All right, next question. When should I stretch and how often? I didn't plan that because we're about to stretch right now. But, so you should stretch every single day. There's different types of stretching, and you want to use the different types of stretching for different occasions. For example, static stretching, which we're about to do right now, is very commonly used for cool down. The reason you use static stretching, which is holding the same position and stretching the same muscle for about 10 to 20 seconds, that's static stretch, because that makes your muscle more elastic. It also makes your heart rate slow down, and it basically stops all this pooling of blood so your heart doesn't have to work very hard. So as a warm-up, you don't typically want to do a lot of static stretching. So I typically use static stretching as a cool down, or another good time to do static stretching is before bed. Anytime you need to calm down and relax, that's when you want to do static stretching. There is places for static stretching in a warm-up, but those are only reserved for muscles that are really, really tight. If a muscle is like seizing up on you, or it's like locking up or cramping up on you, that's something that you want to static stretch. Otherwise, generally speaking, you do not want to do static stretching before activity. Only use it for cool down, when you need to relax, like before bed, or maybe like throughout your workday, say you're like really stressed out. That's when static stretching is really good. You can think of yoga, static stretching, right? So the other form of stretching is called active stretching. Active stretching is movement. You're not statically holding in the same position. So active stretching, arm swings, right? Leg swings, getting nice and loose. Excellent before exercise or activity, because that gets all your joints nice and lubed up. It gets all your blood flow going. So active stretching is commonly what you see like track athletes and even various sports you see as a warm-ups. It's like active stretching, moving around, high knees, stuff like that. Now, there's one more style of stretching. I mean, there's many styles, but the common one is static, active, and the last one's dynamic. This one goes more into what I was just mentioning about sports. When you see a lot of explosive movement, okay? Let me give you an example. Active stretching is just like something like arm swings, right? And leg swings, okay? It's a little bit of movement, right? Moderate amount of movement. A dynamic stretch is something like doing high knees with opposite arm, opposite leg raise. That would be something like this. So it's very much like active stretching, but it's generally, dynamic is generally considered more explosive. So I'd want to be doing high knees, opposite arm, opposite leg, as like fast as I can. So it'd be like that. And so that's generally the difference between dynamic stretching and active stretching. Active stretching, you think of just like a moderate, just keeping things moving. Dynamic is like really pushing yourself to go pretty fast. Karaoke, high knees, butt kickers, stuff like that is all dynamic. So those are the 3 different types of stretching. Static, generally use cool down before bed, anytime you need to relax. Static stretching, that's where you hold 10 to 20 seconds. Active stretching, again, it can be about 10 to 20 seconds, but that's just moderate amounts of movement. And then dynamic stretching, same thing, it can be 10 to 20 seconds or longer, and that's just a very explosive movement. And you don't want to do active and dynamic generally before working out, exercise, sports, competition, all that kind of stuff. Static is post. All right, cool. So that's it for what's up, almighty bands. Hi, old man. Look at that old man muscle, dude. Look at this. Look at this old man muscle, dude. Ah! I'm not a boomer, bro. I ain't an old man yet. I'm in my early 30s. But I'm getting back to it. Getting my muscle back, getting back to consistent exercise. So yeah, how you doing, dude? You have a good weekend? So right now we're gonna get into static stretching, the cool down portion. of the exercise or of the workout today. And as I mentioned earlier, if you guys do have any questions and you want them answered in real time, shoot them in the chat. Otherwise, you can save them for later in the gaming stream. I'm going to do Q&A as well. And if you guys ever think of questions health related, health, fitness, gut health, anything like that, feel free to just ask me on the live streams or shoot me a DM. I got a wealth of knowledge around all those areas, especially this past year because all the GI issues I dealt with. So feel free to hit me up if you have any questions. But if you want them answered real time, shoot them in the chat now or the live stream we're going to be doing later today. But yeah, we're going to get to our cool down. As I like to do for cool downs, I like to listen to chill music because it's all about slowing the heart rate down, breathing in deep and out. One thing you can do that's really neat for a cool down is visualizations. Visualize something that's a really relaxing, calming space. My common space that I think of is at like a beach on a nice warm day with a light breeze. You know, the waves are just lightly crashing, just super mellow. So that's what I'm going to be visualizing, that if I could talk, during my static stretch today. right. Feels so good to get a nice static stretch in there. Post-workout, oh man, I'm telling you guys, if you just really focus on breathing deep in and out and have those like really calming relaxation visualizations while you static stretch, it's like this whole wave of calmness just overcomes your body, and it's so much more effective than just static stretching alone. I'm telling you, it's night and day. It's so good before bed too, if you guys have trouble relaxing and calming down in the evening. Woo, puts me straight to sleep. Like sometimes I can literally like fall asleep during my cooldowns. All right, so if you guys didn't catch earlier, I'm just doing a live Q&A, so if you guys ever have any questions during the workouts and stuff like that, feel free to shoot it in the chat and I'll answer it in real time. I'll also be doing a Q&A during today's gaming stream, which will be a little bit later in the afternoon. So if you want to ask some questions or you see this video later, feel free to just hop in the live chat, whatever stream I'm doing, anytime. Health, fitness questions, just hit me with them. And if you guys don't catch me on a live stream, feel free to DM me on any of the socials or even Twitch as well if you're watching there. And I'll get to your question and I'll be sure to answer it on live stream. Yeah, so that was it for today's workout. We'll just finish up with one last question, and then I'll see you guys on the live stream later today. The last question for today's workout stream is going to be, what can I do about muscle soreness? This is a great question. I feel like a lot of people don't ask this too. So muscle soreness, very common if you get a good workout. My rule of thumb is the RPE of 8. If you guys weren't around earlier when I was talking about RPE of 8, rating of perceived exertion 8 out of 10. Just about 80% of your maximal effort. If you are doing that and hitting each exercise set or each set of exercise to that RPE of 8, you should be sore. Sometimes the same day, definitely the next day, and the day afterwards, possibly as well. If you're not feeling soreness, chances are you're not pushing yourself enough or doing something different. You need to switch it up, challenge your body to elicit that muscle growth response, which is the soreness. Now, ways you can deal with soreness is, first and foremost, sleep. Soreness is all about recovery, right? So if you are not recovering properly, your soreness is gonna hang around and not go away. So you gotta make sure you're getting adequate sleep. That again is about 7.5 to 8 hours every single night. If you're an athlete or someone who's doing really demanding exercise, like 5 to 7 days a week, you need to be getting like 9 to 10 hours of sleep every single night. So sleep is going to be one of the best ways to help with to help with muscle soreness. Next up is going to be hydration. A lot of people underhydrate. Now, how much water should you drink per day? This is taking your weight, you divide it by 2, and that's the bare minimum amount of ounces of water you want every single day. Now, for every hour of activity, you want to add another 30 ounces of water or so, okay? That being said, after you do those metrics for hydration, check your urine color. If your urine is crystal clear, you're doing an excellent job at hydrating, and you could even scale back a little bit, because the healthiest urine color is going to be like a light pale color. You don't want it necessarily to be crystal clear, because you could be flushing out all your nutrients. If that's the case, if you have crystal clear urine, it's not like bad by any means, but you may want to make sure you're having electrolytes to help absorb the water and not just let it pass through your body. So electrolytes, common electrolytes we are lacking is potassium. So anything with potassium in it. No, bananas are not the best source of potassium, believe it or not. A lot of vegetables have potassium in it, more than bananas do. But yeah, you can have, one of the best things I like to use for electrolytes is those packets. Like Liquid IV is one of the better brands that I've heard of. You just like sprinkle them in like 16 ounces of water and it has all your electrolytes. Sodium is commonly the one we are not lacking on, so you don't necessarily need to have more sodium. I find most people in general are lacking on potassium, so definitely add that in. If you do not want to buy those little packets for electrolytes, you could just literally use table salt. Healthier salt's better, like pink Himalayan or Celtic sea salt. All you need is a little tiny pinch of that salt, and you just sprinkle that in about 16 ounces of water, and there you go. That's electrolytes as well. That is going to be the sodium-based electrolytes, but it's going to, help if you're overhydrating and your urine is like crystal clear. So you guys could use that if you don't want to do electrolyte packets. So you have sleep, you have hydrating, all to help with muscle soreness. Last but not least is going to be nutrition. So getting your adequate amount of protein. Most people, they want, if you're not like an active individual, you want about 0.4 grams per pound of body weight. So you take your body weight and you times it by 0.4, and that's generally how many grams of protein you want every single day. Now, if you're a more active individual, you can have up to about 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. And if you're extremely active like an athlete, you can have up to about a gram per pound of body weight of protein for the day. Protein is going to be a really great way to help your body repair and recover from all the stress that you're putting on it when you're doing exercise. So getting your protein in there, and I wouldn't just stop there as far as nutrition goes. I would say getting your daily calories as well. You want to make sure you're at least getting your BMR worth of calories, which is your bare minimum amount of calories every single day. That's to let your body function properly and how it should. And then if you're going for building muscle, you want to get maintenance or above maintenance calories. And those three things are going to be really, really critical as far as muscle soreness goes. So sleep, hydration, and nutrition. Now, that being said, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or hit me up on the socials. I'll get to them on the next live stream. Next live stream is going to be later today in the afternoon. It's going to be gaming and guitar. So I'm going to be doing live song requests. If you guys have any song requests you want me to learn on the guitar, I'll take them. I'll try to learn it. If I don't learn it on the live stream, I'll learn it on my own time and I'll play it during the live stream. And if you guys have any questions, as always, feel free to drop them in the chat and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Otherwise, you guys have a great Monday, and I'll see you on the next live stream. Peace.